Hello everyone, my name is Roy. Welcome to my channel RoysArtyCrafty. So in this video, we'll be comparing two pens. One will be Lamy Joy, another one is Parker Vector, and we'll be trying calligraphy. So we'll be comparing based on the calligraphy. So let's get started. Under first category, some basic strokes of calligraphy have been tried with this both pens, and the Parker Vector had some issues or it didn't go well as it was not smooth. The ink flow was not at all smooth, especially with the diagonal strokes, and whereas the Lamy pen was really good and it was very smooth and ink flow was very uniform as well. Under second category, punctuations have been tried with these both pens, and Parker Vector really struggled a lot, especially with the colons or full stop, so it didn't write well, whereas the Lamy was really good and smooth, and we could see clearly the letters or the punctuation marks were visible very clearly and in a good way with the Lamy. Under third category, serifs have been tried with these both pens. The Parker Vector had a nib size M, and the M's nib sizes were two sizes were there in the packet or the box. So first size of M had been used in this example. Two styles had been tried. One was vertically straight, other one was the slanted one. So the Vector Parker didn't do well with the serif, so it could write, but the nib would scratch or it would not be smooth while writing those diagonally on the left side or the right side as serif, whereas the Lamy had done a really good job and it performed really well with the serif, and it was really smooth and uniformly distributed. The sizes were good as well. So the next category was the Flourish, and both these pens had been tried. So the nib size of Parker Vector had been the same. The medium one size had been used, and 1.9 mm of Lamy had been used. So while doing the Flourish, the pen structure or the balance had a lot of dependency. The Parker Vector was very short and the balance was not that great. So while doing the freehand flourishes, it didn't do well. Whereas the Lamy's body had a really good balance, as the structure was really long and had a good balance. So it did really good with the freehand or free flow of the flourishes. And even with the cap in the Parker Vector, it didn't do well because the weight might be a bit heavier. So the Parker Vector without the cap was very light, and with the cap it was very heavy, so it didn't balance it properly. So the next category would be the diagonals, and both the pens had been tried. So under this category of diagonals, these pens had to be tried in a different angle to get the diagonals correct, but the Lamy did really well, whereas the Parker Vector had some problems with the nib. So whenever I used to do on the left side, it had problems and it was not uniform. So the last category had been tried was the elliptical or the oval shape. So both the pens had been tried to write some structures or letters which had some elliptical or the oval shape, example O or Q. So let's see how they could do. So the Parker Vector couldn't do well due to the proper balance of the body structure. So in the next step, we would be discussing elaborately about the summary. So there are around 6 categories. Based on these 6 categories, we can review or we will be comparing these two pens. So the left side has been written by the Parker vector and the right side has been written by the Lamy. So during these basic strokes, the Lamy performed really well. The letters were written very smooth and clearly, whereas the letters were not very smooth with the Parker, especially with those angles or with the small serifs. So it was not, the ink flow was not proper, especially when the position or the angle was a bit in a diagonal way. So this part has won. The Lamy has won in this part. On the second category, punctuations, with this pen it was not that smooth, so we had to try 2-3 attempts to try the comma or semicolon, whereas it was very smooth, ink was very smooth and uniform with the Lamy. So this is also for Lamy, this category. So now we have tried some letters and words with serif, and especially with the Parker vector there is some problem with the diagonal. So in this direction it was not working properly. We had to scratch 2-3 times, then only it worked, whereas it was very smooth with the Lamy. So the Lamy won in this part. And with the Flourish, so the Lamy was very good and the shape was very smooth, and at one stroke the shape came out really well, whereas with the Parker it was not that smooth. It used to break a bit, so the ink flow was there but it was not that uniform in this way, or like it is clearly seen it is missing something. So Lamy has won here as well. Now we have tried some letters which have diagonals, and in this case also the Lamy has won. It is clearly seen that these letters are looking better. And the last category was the oval or the elliptical shape, and we tried with some capital letters or the O and Q. So it was not that great with the Parker vector, but the Lamy was good and great. So this has won. So the summary will be the Lamy. If you like this video, please share and subscribe the channel, and thank you very much for watching.